In this video, we're going to be talking about the benefits of yoga, and this time I'm bringing my friend Jenny, and she teaches yoga, so I think she'll have a lot of insight that she can share with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. With yoga, it's a very big sector, and I'm just impressed with how much it can provide people. What are some benefits you think yoga provides to some of your clients that you have?
Well, usually it starts physically, right? The lengthening, the strengthening of your muscles, the awareness physically. Most people, that's where it starts. But then sometimes they find something else that's slowing down that mindfulness that you often hear of learning to move with your breath and your body and learning what works for you as opposed to how you think you should be doing things is a huge aspect, that acceptance of what you can and can't do physically.
I see. I've also read that yoga can really connect people with themselves. How does that happen exactly?
Well, usually it's the slowing down and learning a lot about yourself, because we're such a fast-paced society. We have to go, get everything done. So in yoga, we tend to learn to slow things down and learn to work with ourselves and our breath and our body. The mat is often referred to as a mirror. We can slowly peel those layers away as to what we think we are and learn to who we are, because we can learn where our mind goes in these physical poses that often everybody thinks of what yoga is, and it's so much more than just those physical poses. So with that, we slow down and you learn a lot about yourself. If you're quick to judge yourself, how you can change those thoughts, negative thoughts, into positive thoughts. And learning that self-acceptance is a big thing as to where you are today, not where you were yesterday or where you're going, but that present moment.
I see. So is it in the poses that people kind of find that inner awareness, or where in the yoga atmosphere does that occur?
Well, we tend to move through these physical poses so that we can create that stillness, because we need to move, right? If you give somebody the choice, they want to move, they don't want to stay still. So we tend to move about a little bit so that we can create that time that we can be still, usually towards the end of class, or sometimes even in the beginning of class as we settle in. We sometimes slow down, start with our breath work or something throughout. So it can start to create that connection slowly when we slow down and notice who we are.
And when that connection usually happens, how does it change the people that you've worked with?
That's a big one. It can be different for everybody. It's not necessarily always life-altering, because people usually come for that physical aspect, and sometimes it turns into something more and they don't expect it. Sometimes people often find themselves crying, and not because they're in pain, but because it can be a release of all the stored up emotions that we tend to hold on to. And we know that there's that physical connection between stress and our bodies physically, because we crunch our shoulders and we're tight and we're tense. So it teaches us how to relax. So sometimes you find that place, that space, and you're comfortable and you let go and you relax. Sometimes we let go of those emotions we've been holding on to and you're not expecting it.
When I was doing my research, I read a lot of articles, and it talked about how getting into yoga has helped people overcome arthritis and back pain. And it just amazes me how yoga itself can do that.
Right. A lot of doctors now are sending people to yoga in conjunction with physical therapy and all of that, so that we can work together, because you need to move, right? Movement is the medicine. So we don't want to stay stagnant. We don't want to create the blocked energy physically or energetically. We need to move. So learning to move what works for you is what's important.
And yoga can also help with stability as well.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of seniors come for that mobility, for the awareness to create some more mobility, learn to move with their balancing and how they can practice. I tell people, even just something a couple seconds while you're brushing your teeth, try to stand on one leg and see where you are today. So sneak it in.
Wow. I kind of see yoga as a thing for beginners that are or who are interested in exercise, because there's different forms of yoga. There's the fast pace,
right.
And if people kind of came into yoga, maybe they can actually turn into the fitness industry.
Right. There's just so many different styles of classes. So that's like the one thing I tell people: move around, try different classes, try different teachers. It's not going to be the same for everybody and what you're looking for. And it's even changed what I like to do sometimes too. I go to different types of classes: a faster pace, a slower pace class.
I see. And the yoga classes you teach, like, what do you guys mostly focus on?
Well, I am hatha based, and it's a flow style, whether it be gentle. I have a huge variety of classes I teach. I do like to teach more of all levels because I like to show people how we can benefit from doing the same pose in multiple different ways for everybody, so they can see they don't have to look like what they think they saw in Yoga Journal, but the person next to them is doing it. Like, I love to look up and see the same thing being done 4 different ways.
Because our bodies too, like, they're very different, you know, like
completely different.
Someone's back bend, we're gonna see a lot of different stuff.
Right.
For those who are getting into yoga, what are some things they should keep in mind?
I think is don't expect it to change because of one class, right? Nothing's going to change because you did something one time. Consistency is key, and it doesn't have to be big classes. It can be small little things that you can try doing at home. Maybe turn on a video, try a YouTube video for a few minutes, try another one, go to a class. Don't be afraid to ask questions, you know? And I think going in with that open mind without an expectation, it leaves you open to a lot more than you.
That's very true, because if you kind of have this preset mind, it's going to affect the experience that you're going to have.
Right. Just go in with that open mind, that open heart, and see what happens.
How has yoga kind of helped you personally in your life?
Well, a lot. It's been a huge changing factor for me physically, because I used to be a runner, big runner. So that's how I started physically. I wanted something to stretch, is how it started, and it became so much more for me. The biggest thing is that I see myself differently, and I see the world differently. I see the people around me differently. I don't know what their physical journey is. I'm not as judgmental, or, you know, look at things differently with that open heart and that open mind, that community base.
I see. Wow, that's great. It's really kind of shifted your character.
Yes.
And have you been doing yoga for a long time?
I dabbled in it probably about 15 years ago, started here and there, and I didn't, I was upset with myself that I couldn't do what I thought I could do, and, you know, moved back and forth in and out of it, but I got real serious about 8 years ago.
I see. Wow, and it has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I think without yoga, I would not have been able to get through some of the things that my life has thrown at me.
Really? And when you do your yoga, are you like mostly in poses too, and then that's how you're able to reflect? And like, is that where the change happens
When
for you?
I'm teaching?
Oh, no, like when you're kind of by yourself doing
yes,
yoga.
I do my own practice. It's a daily thing. I have to. It's more than just the physical for me. I like to journal. I like to meditate. I like to do breath work. There's a lot involved: studying, self-studying, writing down how I feel about myself is a big thing.
That's interesting that you connect that with yoga, because I do those things too, and I never really saw it as being a part of yoga. But yoga is kind of understanding yourself. Right. So I kind of see how that all connects.
Right.
Yeah, because meditation, yoga, meditation I do.
Right.
And I kind of like, I've started focusing on my body parts as well, like the arms, head, and all that. And it definitely makes a difference, because I kind of like, it almost seems like the awareness kind of spreads, because sometimes I just feel more in my head. Right.
Because most people, like earlier that I said, think of yoga and they just think of that physical aspect. And for a lot of people, that's where it starts. But there's 8 limbs as a part of yoga. And, you know, there's so much more involved in it. And you can take it where you need to. If you're just there for the physical, that's great. You'll get so many benefits from it physically. But if you want something more, sometimes it falls into more for you, and you don't, it slowly happens.
It's a very long, continuous process.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. The yoga, I really think it's a great thing. It's over 5,000 years old.
Yes. Traces back to long, long time ago. Yes.
It's incredible, and it's found its way all the way up to now.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Changed through the years, and so many different types and styles, and it's insane almost how many different things there are out there. But I think there could be something for everybody if you gave it a shot.
Oh, for sure. I mean, how many different kinds of yoga styles do you think there are?
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Too many to count.
At least like 5 that I could think of offhand. It's pretty impressive how it's changed over the years.
That's great.
And what it's become.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I think you shared a lot of great insight about yoga that the people watching can probably use. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. This was the end of the video. I hope you guys found a lot of insight from it because Jennie shared a lot of great things, especially if you're a beginner trying to get into yoga. I really hope you guys can explore the yoga industry to see how it can kind of help you get through the challenges in your life. I'll catch you guys in the next video. There'll be a few videos that pop up here. You should check them out as well because I talk about a lot of great things as well.